Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Well, good evening, folks. You cheeky devils, you. I was a few seconds late, as per usual, but obviously you're used to that by now. And speaking of being late, no, there is no speaking of being late. I was trying to think of something Mars orientated there to why we would be late to the table. Maybe I ate a Mars bar. Rich ate a Mars bar. There you go. How are we all diddling on this fine, luxurious evening? We have in the house. We have GUFON radio in the house. We have Must See Audio in the house, Lee, and shortly we did have him for a split second. We did have Michael from DarkHour Paranormal, but his audio sounded like he was on Mars.
It did.
So he will be joining us in just a moment. But in the meantime, how is everybody?
Good, mate.
You asking me? Yeah, I'm doing good.
Well,
It's all right. What's today? Thursday?
Today is Thursday, Rich.
Day before Friday. Can't get any better. Till tomorrow.
Yeah, you've always got a thing. You always start the weekend on a Thursday on your show. You know, you've got one more day. One more day.
Yeah. Because 9 to 5ers, I know what it's like.
Here he is. The man himself.
I'm hoping that's correct. We'll get there, right? Hopefully it doesn't sound terrible. Come on, really?
Now you sound better than we do.
Better.
You flatter me so, Rich. Ollie, Lee, Rich, what's going on, guys? Good to be here.
Good to see you, Michael. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. We were just doing some pleasantries, so you haven't missed anything. And you probably you could be here for 2 hours and still not miss anything. But make sure if you're new to the channel, you like, share, subscribe, and hit that little bell end in the corner. Not Lee.
It's a new word for me.
It helps if you hit the bell. It really does. And I can see that 99% of you have not hit the bell. So hit the bell. I'm just making that up.
It's 30%. I bet you it's 30.
Is that what yours is, Rich?
It seems everybody's around 28, 29% of subscribers do not get full notifications.
It's a conspiracy. That's what
it is. Yeah, I know. Life is a conspiracy.
It is indeed. And did you see? And I put out my thumbnail, and literally, the reason why I wanted to talk about Mars is because on your show on Saturday night, where you have that really good guest alien addict on, we discussed Mars, and I just thought, right, I need to. And that's what I want to do. I want to do a video about Mars. I put this out, and then literally a day later, the gods listened. The gods listened, and this was in the papers that NASA have found a piece of volcanic rock, and they've not just drilled one hole in it. Oh no, they've drilled 2 holes in it. And do we know why, people?
Mm-hmm.
This is a piece of volcanic rock, and they found salt in this.
Salt?
Salt, not soul. Well, that if they found a soul in a rock, then there's definitely life. But no, they found a bit of salt. So I'm yet to see the scientific papers. I probably won't read them anyway. I'll get somebody else to do it for me and just break it down and skip the boring stuff and just give me the good stuff. You know, have we found anything microbial in there? Have we found traces of good old water in that rock? But they have found salt, so it's a good sign that there was something on Mars. I'm going to start with you, Michael, on this, because you sent me a picture of the classic the pyramid top coming out of the soil, like a brick that has squareness to it. I do think it's on an angle, so I don't know if it's a pyramid, but it's definitely something that is pyramid shaped. Do you actually think that Mars had a civilization of intelligent beings at some point?
You know, it's hard to say, but, you know, given some of the research that I've done and what we're seeing coming in the way of what NASA provides us or doesn't provide us with, I'd have to say inconclusively, yes, there was more than likely a civilization or many civilizations that existed on that planet. I think there are a lot of planets within our immediate solar system that may have harbored certain life at some time. And maybe it's not sentient life. Maybe it's just, what you'd see in the Jurassic Age or Triassic period here, where you have a lot of different animals and beings that live there. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same model as a human being for this to be very significant. I mean, these planets are millions and millions of years old, and we're trying to back catalog as much as we can within a linear sense, and it's a very difficult process. We don't really know, or at least I don't understand that we know whether or not certain elements break down within the vacuum of space or within the environments of some of these different nutrient-rich airs and atmospheres that are around these planets, how things kind of evolve over millions of years. Maybe some of this material, like we're seeing this odd 90-degree shaped object here in the picture, maybe this was something that was forged and was able to sustain in the same way that some of the monolithic rocks and formations that we have here, knowing that they were sustained because the people understood the archaeological implications of the soil and how that would sit in way of longevity, so that when they made these constructs, they knew it would be around for a long time. There are a lot of anomalies to be observed in the way what comes back from Mars in photographic evidence and so forth. I do have to say that I figure about 95% of it to be pareidolia in one way, shape, or form. They do look like natural formations in a lot of ways, or shadowing. But then you come across a structure like what you're showing here, and we have to question something different sometimes.
Yeah, I've just put Carol Ann up there. But I love you too, Carol Ann. But thank you,
Coral.
Lee. Coral.
Coral.
I call
Coral
her
Ann.
Carol Ann because you call her Carol Ann on GUFON.
No, I haven't called her that in a year.
It's just stuck with me, Rich. But yeah, thank you, Sleep Drone, and welcome to the show for the super chats there. I much appreciated. I know what you're saying, DarkHour, because I myself have been deeply affected by pareidolia in the past. I was speaking with Rich on his show last week about that's how I started, and I've been looking back at some of my old stuff from when I came back from work this evening, and I'm like, I can't show that. That's disgusting. That's just it's just a blob. But when you do see something like this, and I actually have some images myself that I've put up that are very much like this. There's definitely that kind of like cube look to it. I don't know whether it's a pyramid or whether it's just like a piece of block, or maybe it could be just pareidolia, and that is just how the rock actually is. It's just a bit of a jagged rock on the rock on the edge. The
It
problem
looks like the
is,
top of an obelisk,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Maybe
Well, it certainly
that's
looks
the
like... Yep, go ahead.
capstone to the pyramid here on Earth. I'm joking.
I
gotta go.
It looks like it's built into the side of a facade while Rich gathers himself here. It may be buried. I mean, how much of this topsoil, or whatever you'd like to call it, is on the Martian surface, and how much have we actually gotten underneath in any sort of public presence in way of understanding and knowing that we've done that? We know that they've dug holes. That's about it. They've taken samples the way they've done on the moon and other places, but it's limited in way of what we understand and what they come out to tell us about this stuff. Now, one of the interesting things I'll point out very quickly, I don't know the composition of this particular stone that we're looking at in this picture here, but it's my understanding that within the molecules themselves, the way that those are actually shaped, if you were to break certain stones, they'll actually naturally break into those particular formations that are in the molecular makeup. So when you have something like hematite, for example, you're going to have some of these really sharp, flat edges that maybe look like they have 90-degree quality to them, and they're very natural, growing, again, out of the molecule itself. Maybe this stone is something similar, and we're just seeing a very large version of it on the Martian surface here.
Yeah, another problem that I have with images like these, as much as they capture the eye, it's all the image artifacts when you zoom in. So you don't know if you got actually really close up to that, how, you know, smooth that actually is, or if it's going to be all different shapes. You just can't see some of the rock that's in the shadow. You know what I mean? But it do, from that image there, I don't actually think has been played with at all. You know, I don't really think that's been photoshopped, you know, to bring it out at all. I think maybe they might have adjusted the contrast or what have you, but I don't think that's had any kind of enhancement by the looks of it. It definitely has symmetry. It definitely looks intelligent, but the problem is the image with all the image artifacts that are in there. To get a definitive answer of whether that is something that is intelligent, or if it's just like a fluke of the camera, or it's just, you know, it is just the edge of a rock that happens to be shaped like that, you know, a coincidence.
Well, not to mention, if there are these archaeological sites that still exist on, you know, a planet like Mars, there's a very good possibility that whatever inhabitants had been responsible for those constructs, if they survived in way of species, they may have gone within the planet itself. We've heard lots of reports of that. So with that in mind, if they did this millions of years ago, and perhaps in some way, shape, or form, they're still there as a species, who knows? Maybe they would have cleaned up some of these sites. Maybe certain inclement weather, you know, completely buried them. They still know where they are, but they have no desire to, you know, excavate any of that to show sign that they used to be here.
There is one, and I'm sure I had one ready to put out that is very similar to what you've just put out. Here it is, actually. I found it. So I found something very similar. Where this was on my channel when I first started looking for stuff, and that there is from a different angle and a different area. And again, you've got that shape that looks like something is buried underneath the Martian soil.
Check out that construct just in the foreground here. It almost looks like there's this sort of railroad tunnel cave here. I'm sure it's the way that the rocks are laying, but nonetheless, it looks like somebody could enter that spot, right? In the one on the left here, you can see it most prominently in the close-up picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh right, yeah. Well, yeah, but this is tiny. This is. I mean, what you're looking at here is that little thing that does look like a cave down there. I know exactly what you mean. That is probably the size of a cup.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not big. I've zoomed in. You can actually see the rover leg at the side, but the picture's zoomed in that I've done. What I'll probably do at the end of the show, it'll probably be tomorrow or the day after, I'll try and get some of the links for some of these actual soul images, and I'll put them down below. But Rich, so with yourself, I've heard you speaking about Mars many a times, referring it to an ancient civilization, and then kind of going off the subject a little bit. But where are your thoughts with, especially with the recent news that yes, there is definitely water on Mars? Do you think there was an intelligent civilization there?
Maybe. I really don't know. It seems like it. I mean, I'm probably going to echo everything Michael said, so I'll try not to. But finding salt is not. Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise, since there was water there. The way it breaks down, of course, but yeah, it looks like with all the things we're finding, some are pareidolia, and some just are unexplainable, and they have hard edges, and there are some places on Mars that look like there were civilizations, like buildings in one area. And then you go, you know, it looked like there was suburbia, you know, and then you go down a little further and it looks like there may have been a city or bigger buildings. But we're talking possibly 1 to 3 billion years ago. That is ridiculously long to be without water. Mars apparently has been without water for 3 billion years. So to have all this stuff being windblown, you know, over 3 billion years, I'm surprised we still see stuff with hard edges. And I understand that the wind and the sands are shifting and new things may be appearing. So that might be what we're seeing here. But I tend to side on, yeah, I believe there was an ancient civilization there. It just looks like it.
Well, if you reverse that and you, well, it's probably the wrong word to use. And thank you guys for the super chats again. If I don't interrupt the guest speaker, I am sorry, but I like to put a little message in. But it's hard when you've got people on. But I really do appreciate it, and I love you all very much. Thank you, Lynn, my friend. Awesome, and thank you. What I've forgotten the name. Five, Johnny Five. Was it Johnny? 5 Strokes Wonder Scotland. Oh, I like Scotland. Make great pies in Scotland. But what you've got to imagine there, and I always think about this, is if it happened to Earth, same situation happened to Earth, and all our buildings now were destroyed, and you go forward billions of years, yeah, would anything be left? Would anything other than the things we made out of stone? You know, because the glass and things like that would probably just go down to sand eventually. The metal would corrode. You
yes
know,
and no. Not everywhere, Ollie.
Is it the Golden Gate Bridge? Is it the Golden Gate Bridge that's supposed to last the longest of anything we've like made in modern times?
But it won't last. I mean, if you go back 500 million years ago, we just had one continent. Okay, so imagine we have plate tectonics here. So, and they do on Mars. It's just a hell of a lot slower. But here, it's like a machine, a grinding machine, and a lot of that stuff would be lost to it. And not only that, you know, we have an atmosphere here, rain, you know, all the stuff, wind and snow and hail, and we have all this stuff that damages everything. But you can't. I don't think you can get rid of everything. And I think a lot of stuff may be buried on Earth. But most likely, go back a billion years. If we go back a billion years now, I mean, what do we find? You know, one continent. It's crazy to imagine.
You take this one measurement that archaeology essentially subscribed to, and that is on our planet, you can overall say 1 inch of soil is equal to 100 years. So if you put that in perspective and you look at a place like Mars and you go down billions and billions and billions of years, I mean, you're stretching all the way down into this planet now to just uncover, you know, some small history that may or may not have been.
Should be safe all the way down there, though.
You would think
so. Should be
yeah.
preserved, yeah. Why are we going there so much? I mean, we're on Mars a lot. We've got a couple of rovers there now working, right? Ollie, we talked about it.
I believe there has been more than the 4 working rovers before. There has been another rover, but rovers that actually go around taking pictures, 4 of them. You know, I think you got Perseverance and Curiosity that are still working, and you had Spirit and Opportunity that are dead now.
Yeah, but they lasted for a long time. They were only supposed to last 90 days.
Yeah, and they lasted for
a
years.
Decade. More than a decade.
I think Curiosity, is that the longest that's lasted?
Oh, yeah, by far. Yeah.
And it's in the name, Perseverance. I think that one's going to last a long time.
But how? Remember a couple of years ago when the dust was magically removed off the solar panels?
No, there's the cleaners. They have cleaners on Mars.
I know.
You know,
but
you've seen them in the shadows.
I don't know, man.
Maybe the rain. You know,
dust just doesn't clean that easily.
Yeah, no.
Even if a dust devil came by, I've lived in Arizona for 43 years. And dust comes by, it makes it dustier.
Yeah.
Does it have a self-cleaner?
No. That's what was magical about it. That thing should have been dead in the sand, and next thing we know, it looked brand new.
Which will bring us on to Lee shortly on his his best.
There was
find.
another one. There wasn't there. Not just the dust. There was It's not really a find. I think people know about it, but
no. But it's your most interesting one.
Yeah, it's my way of messing the conversation up, I suppose. But there was there was what looked like a screw next to the next to the rover, and the photographs were supposed to be taken within like 2 or 3 minutes of each other, and between one to the other, this had disappeared.
Oh yeah, like the bunny
And-
rabbit.
Yeah, so I
Speak-
struggle. I struggle like with the There's your screw.
Oh wow. Wait, what?
So I showed Lee this earlier, and he thought that was like huge. From is that been taken from space?
Yeah.
It's not. That is just a sand dune. So in the zoomed in picture, you can actually see the rover next to it. So this thing's tiny, and this is just like the side of a cliff edge. It's probably like a bit of sand, but there's definitely some. I don't think that's an image artifact. I think that's something in the actual pit. It's something real in the picture. I'm not an expert when it comes to image artifacts, but you zoom right in on that, you know, there is a bit of shadow there, and it looks like it's going through. It looks like something that's stuck in there,
For sure.
but that's
And
tiny.
And if it were moving, don't you think we'd see a little bit of the contour and way of its wake in the sand, right? So maybe this is something stationary.
Yeah, I don't think it's moving. I don't think it's a life form or anything like that.
It's
Not-
under there.
It's just something that's stuck in. I mean, maybe it came off the rover.
Well, the weird thing is you don't see any sand displacement, and it doesn't look like it was there, because if there was wind blowing around, wouldn't one side of that, let's just call it a screw, wouldn't it, you know how when you see wind blown, it gathers up on one side more? We don't see that here. It looks like it was just put there.
That's a good point.
I got sent one, and this is the thumbnail because I think I don't want to be clickbaity because I did put this thumbnail out, but this that's next to Elon, Elon. I actually found that in this image. Somebody sent me a gigapan, and it's the most interesting gigapan I've actually seen when it comes to Mars images. I'll bring it up for you guys. One second, but I'm interested. Does that, to you guys, is that me just having pareidolia? Because if it is, it's absolutely fine. I don't care about that. But
What is this image supposed to look like? Because right now my eye is caught on the cut that seems to be in the middle of that rock there.
Me
Is there
too.
something else?
There is something else.
What do you
so
see?
I'm going to bring the gigapan up.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful.
So somebody sent me this, and they said, Alien Addict, you need to check this out. And I'm looking at it and thinking, they said they saw something in there, and it's just a rock. All I saw when I looked at that is a rock. But I thought this is a really interesting gigapan. So I started to look around this.
Looks like there's grass too.
Kind of does, doesn't it?
Let me.
You see
get
that?
it-
Like
let
a
me
little
bring it
grayish?
up big
Yeah.
for you guys. So it looks like something is broken apart in this. But
Is it
when you
tombstone?
No, I see what you mean. If you go back a bit where you just were,
The rock was
Go
cut
back.
circular.
Yeah.
like I keep going.
Keep
I'll
going.
keep going back that way.
Keep
Like it was a
going. There
cylinder.
it is.
There,
Right there.
yeah. So those they kind of look like they're from the same thing, don't they? Which could
Yeah.
mean they were from the same rock, for instance.
on the same
but,
rock, yeah, of course,
But
of course it could.
still, it
Well-
looks cylindrical, doesn't it?
But it's
Yeah.
this one that I found really interesting. I don't know. It's just like if you look how it's like stuck on, and I imagine like something that's been carved out of stone and it's come away from the wall, and it's got the line across it. It just looks intelligent to me. Is that pareidolia?
Well, there's also cuts that are vertical right above it that look like they were bricks laid. You see right above where the first curve is and it goes into the rock behind, you can see just to the left there's two vertical lines and one underneath it.
Boring holes?
No. Ollie, go up a little bit.
No, they're quite.
No,
interesting.
not the picture, your cursor.
Oh, you mean
That line there, then underneath, yeah, then there's another one to the left of it, and then you got a long line underneath it. You're
Yeah,
too
I mean,
far down. Yeah, but it's
I know,
okay.
I know. It's this bit that I find interesting. The fact that this is almost like this is stuck on this rock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've got that there, and it's like it looks like it was like if you imagine a piece of a statue or something that's just broken off.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So the other thing that could look like is some sort of mitre, like something that fits in something to give it some
But
like
you
some
also look.
purchase.
Sorry, go ahead.
So no, that was me finished.
I was just going to say, if you look back at that structure you were just peeking at, the shadow sort of indicates some sort of concave curvature. So the top half of that piece that's closest to us might be actually coming out on a curve.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
Ollie,
think
you've
you're
got
right.
another.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
there you go. Look at that. There you go, boys. There's a buried alien grey in the
There's
sand.
also something that looks cubey above it. But if you go back to where you were, back, keep going, right where your cursor is. There's
There.
another pit. No, down.
A lot of pareidolia going on.
Yeah,
There's loads.
see, no,
Loads.
If you go up and to the right, there's another like triangle there.
Oh,
Yeah,
here.
it's off the screen. No, it's off the screen now. Down.
You-
Right at the bottom of the middle of
There.
the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, there is
You can
loads of
see
pareidolia.
loads,
We
yeah.
we have this as human beings, and the whole point of this is just to do a video, but also to kind of understand how we think as human beings, so we can annihilate some pareidolia. But I do find this one extremely interesting. There's something strange about that. It is probably just a rock, but nevertheless, it's an interesting rock.
Curved though, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So it looks curved, so it's either
does.
it looks weather damaged or like purposely molded.
Yeah,
It's concave. It's so weird.
Yeah, and it looks purposeful. Yeah, those lines we were just talking about, those are equidistant.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
to
right about
my
that.
eye. They do look it. It's very strange, Ollie. Good eye.
Yeah, I came across that one by mistake. I honestly did. It was
Okay.
just somebody sent me a gigapan and said, "Have you looked at this?" And I looked at it and
okay.
I thought, "There's nothing there." So, but then I thought I need to have a look around this gigapan. It looks amazing. And then I found that, and I was like, "That's pretty weird. Pretty weird looking rock, but nevertheless probably a rock."
Well, we're looking for these artifacts that possibly may be Martian in the way that you would describe it, created by some race or civilization that once lived on the planet. But, to sort of tie in our immediate history and, in Egypt and other places, we have these hieroglyphic carvings that, we've all seen the astronauts and these figures wearing spacesuits or spaceships, heading out what appears to be into the ethers. It's possible, I mean, at least as far as we know, there's a possibility that some of our earlier civilizations were able to make it out possibly to Mars or to the moon. And maybe they were the ones who went out there and created the face on Mars, which is why it resembles what we have here, or any of the other constructs in way of pyramids and stuff like that.
So
Just a
it
thought.
started here, then we went there, and then we had to leave there and come back here.
Maybe it was just an option that one time you could go
Yeah.
back and forth if you wanted to. Might have been a long journey, but nonetheless, yeah.
Oh, the boys
but-
have sent us an image, I think. It's up
Yeah.
on Facebook.
I have
Thank you, Blake and Brent.
I have something I want to play for you too from them.
Oh, it's a video. Oh, so
Oh,
I take
that's-
it we're
that's
we're
probably the
okay to
same
play
video.
that. Okay, let's play this. Let's
Probably
get
the
it
same
shared.
video I have. Mike knows what it is. Sorry, I said Mike.
Okay,
It's
when I
Michael.
play the
I
video,
forget.
boys, we may have to put ourselves on. When I play the video, we may have to put ourselves on mute because of StreamYard.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's share this. Share. Stop screen recording. Share that. I can just see Rich waving in the corner of my eye. There we go. I think that's the one. Nobody's. Yep, that's the one. Has that come up, boys? Yes, it's come up.
Third phase moon.
Do we have
back
audio?
right now live? Wow, when I first saw this photograph that we're going to be going over with geospatial analyst Orlando Smith, I thought it was some kind of possible ruins found next to Egypt or somewhere in Peru. I didn't know exactly where, but when I found out what you're looking at is from Mars, wow, I was blown away. This is, in my opinion, smoking gun evidence of ancient alien existence that once existed on the planet, the red planet. We know we just zoomed by Pluto, but this is the breaking news right now. Is NASA covering up ancient alien technology, structures, civilizations right there on the red planet? This is absolutely incredible. Share it with your friends, people. Share it with the world. Breaking news, third phase of moon. Let's go to Orlando Smith. I want to get his first impressions on this breaking news story right now.
I can't deny the straight lines and what seems to be a spherical feature in the middle. It definitely suggests some type of man-made or, not non-geological structure, that's for certain. And I mean, at first glance, it looks like a subterranean base or something. It looks like a tunnel system that's been partially exposed. Maybe the weathering in the area has collected debris on top of it and has been somehow removed, or maybe it's being excavated. Who knows? But it's such a precarious structure that it definitely doesn't look like natural geologic formations. And so I'm just intrigued, and I wish I could see a more high definition image of this and find out what's really happening there, because it is not a natural structure there. It couldn't be.
What you're looking at right now is a high-res photograph from NASA. We're putting the link below. If you want to take a look for yourself, do your own homework. Everybody take a look at that. But we're doing our own enhancements. We're going back and forth to show the original and also putting our own color enhancements to bring out the structure. Orlando Smith, the big question right here. I know you have years in your experience of looking at geological structures via satellite. You actually work for an agency, for a government agency hired to do this. This is my big question. Is this smoking gun evidence that there was a structure, covered up by NASA right here? What is this? Is this the real deal?
I mean, I'm a skeptical person, and when I look at the photograph, I'm definitely intrigued. But at the same time, I expect that there's a lot of review of the images before they come into the public hands. And so, I mean, I can't answer that question. These structures are definitely not characteristic of the normal terrain that you would see in any landscape. Straight lines can happen from sheared rocks and such, but there's a spherical formation there as well. And there's several straight lines at really interesting angles that look more like an excavated site than just the normal topography that you would find from a weathered surface. So I just want to know more about this area. Is there any more data with different sensors that has come in? And I just want to go and review the archive with this location and see what else we can find regarding this little structure.
You muted.
What do we make to that?
That's
it's interesting that. I've
was
seen
the
that
first
before
thing.
somewhere.
Yeah, well, when Third Phase covered this a little while ago, I remember seeing it and being odd. And when you said you wanted to do a show on Mars, that was actually one of the first images that I knew we would get into, and it had entered my head. This is weird. I mean, you're seeing what appears to be some sort of beaming. It's not just there's one, 90-degree angle here, and there are two rock facades that appear to be these pillars that extend beyond where I would think they should, unless they carved this or somehow it's been carved out of one giant piece of stone. There's a continuity here within that structure. It's just very weird.
Could it
The
be?
thing is, go
Go ahead. No, you first.
Ladies first, thank you.
You're welcome.
if that was small, if that was on a normal, if the rover had taken that and that wasn't from a satellite image, I'd be like, well, that's just, it could be just a rock. But that's huge. So that's keeping its symmetry for a long time. You know, that for I don't know how big. Did they say how big that was?
I don't think so.
I think we had estimated, but we didn't have a real look.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably bigger than my house. Put it that way. You know, that's, and it definitely had angles to it for a long time. You know, do you know what I mean by that? It went on.
Straight lines.
Why can't it be a lost satellite?
It could be.
From, one of the, remember the Russians were sending something over there and disappeared. Maybe it got sucked into the Mars atmosphere.
In all due respect, Rich, though, I think if a satellite went through the Martian atmosphere, it'd just get ripped apart.
Not really.
Maybe we're
Does
seeing
anybody
pieces of it.
think? Does anyone think how odd it is when it comes to images of Mars, be it from the surface or satellite images? Whenever there's something interesting on it, like where it looked like your man was sat there with his head on his hand, but it looked like an ape or a monkey that was sat on the surface of Mars. Do you ever find it weird how the resolution is only ever just good enough to give you something to look at? It's never good enough to make any decisions about. And I can't help feel that these pictures, especially like what we were looking at just before, like the GigaPan thing, it's almost like they're Where's Wally images. It's like NASA feed these images out and they go, now spot the anomaly. It just seems weird that the rover is always just too far away to give any sort of real clarification when you look at something.
These are the highest resolution photos that I think that they can attain right now with the technology they have, right? At least as far as we know.
Yeah, but it's always like if you take that resolution, but the rover is always at that perfect distance as well.
I see what you're saying.
It doesn't give you anything.
Yeah, It's like when we go to, I don't know, you must remember, do you remember that was made its rounds on social media?
That's weird.
And it never went up to that. If I were NASA, I'd be like, well, it does look interesting. Let's go take a look at what it is. Unless the rover couldn't get close enough to what that was, but
maybe they did, and we don't know. Why not?
More than likely, mate. Yeah, more than likely. But I know what you're saying, Lee. You see these images in the distance, but they're always too far away to actually make out.
Like
someone can debunk it.
There, yeah. I just find it really strange that especially that. I mean, that diamond thing, I'd never seen that before. But there should be at least some sort of more outcry from people when these things turn up. So, well, instead of drilling holes looking for salt, can we just go over those two hills and look at the floating diamond?
So Lee remembers this, boys, and this is not Mars. But do you remember when this came out? In the NASA news, it was in a newspaper article or an online article from NASA, and it was an image of them working at NASA, and there's a picture of the moon on the table, and you can clearly see it's almost like NASA's done that on purpose, like a little Easter egg. Have that, motherfuckers. We've given you an alien base there, because that definitely does look like some sort of base on a piece of paper that's being printed off by NASA. And then the pointer, and if you look at the back computer with the yellow, can you see the back computer? I can't get a cursor on the screen, but the computer in the far background that shows, I think, the moon, and then a zoomed in picture of the moon with yellow squares around a certain area. It looks like it could be possibly this area that they've got the photograph on the table.
That's possible.
I could be just, that could be just wishful thinking. But again, you get these little Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're going to take a picture inside NASA of like people working on something, you would think at some point would go, someone inside would go, "Are we working on any of the alien bases? No, we should probably put those in the drawer." Yeah, and just like get some pictures of rocks. But just that's so nicely in frame, isn't it? So nicely,
Yeah.
just under his arm, not covered up.
It's like something that you'd put in a movie as
Yeah.
a little, or you get these games developers that they'll like scratch something on the paintwork of a spaceship to reveal a future game that they're making or whatever. It's like a little Easter egg in a photograph.
What's the Easter egg? I don't see any structures. I don't see anything. I don't see
Square.
anything in there.
Well, that
The
little
square
square
in the
there.
middle.
The little, you see the little, you see the. I've zoomed in on that circle
Yeah,
and
I
put it
see
in
a
a circle,
square. Yeah.
but that's on the moon.
Talk about pareidolia. If you look at the square, just to the right of the square is Stephen Greer's Dancing Alien.
Oh, it is.
God, it's there, yeah. I see it.
Dude, that's crazy.
That's funny.
That's the Easter egg.
Now, how do we know that this printout that we're looking at, this wasn't something strategic that they had marked off, and then maybe you're just seeing, something highlighted in way of a certain construct, nothing, esoteric or artificial. Maybe they're just mapping certain things, and that's what we're seeing. There's no real explanation with this photo, as far as I know.
No, I know. I don't think there was anything. It was literally a load of YouTubers saw this picture and they were like, "Holy shit! There's an alien base on the moon."
What I would point out about that picture is that square is slap bang in the center of that page. So that photograph, that was the main focal point of whatever they were trying to take a picture
Yes,
of there.
that's true.
True,
That's,
yeah.
that's interesting. To be honest with you, I don't even know if that's the Mars or the moon. I can't remember, but I think that was the moon.
I think it's because it's the moon in the background, isn't it, on that other monitor?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it looks like it, though.
Yeah,
You're right.
it looks like the moon, not the Mars.
If we're going to colonize Mars in a handful of years here, and this is something that we can have a household conversation about, people have often mentioned, and I'm not going to throw out any names at the moment, but you guys will probably know who I'm referring to. Many people have said, we're fighting wars out on Mars. If that were the case, why would anybody be allowed to head out to that planet to colonize it if there was some sort of threat? Just a thought I had, in way of sort of grounding some of these claims that people make, unless it's on a different timeline or a different dimension. I can get away with that too, I guess. But, now we're really stretching things thin.
Is that Wilcock you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't want to say too
Why
much.
can't you say his name? The guy's a loser.
No,
If you
not
say
not
it 3
not
times,
Wilcock.
it appears.
Just reveal it. Reveal
Just
the
take your
name.
pick of any of these guys who are going off and saying they're part of the secret space program.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
So yeah.
But do you think they've got that over time because they've just seen how many people see these pareidolia pictures and thought we can make some money off this?
Oh, God, who knows?
People believe they see ancient structures on Mars,
Since the 70s.
and I'm not saying they're not there at all, because some of the images they look bloody well intriguing.
Cydonia looks intriguing.
Yeah,
Do you have any photos of that you could whip out?
don't know, Rich.
Okay, just
You
wondering.
can pull.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had them set up. It was easy, but that's a really interesting area, and it's almost aligned with Orion, which is another interesting thing, and also aligned with the pyramid, and everything designed in Giza.
What's
Speaking
the?
of-
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, speaking of pyramids, but before you go ahead, mate.
I was just going to ask a question that I think I just forgot here. Come back to me.
No, it's just when Rich said pyramids, and I wish I had the new images of this because it doesn't look like this anymore whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
But you do remember that,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
and when you look at that now, it
Mush.
just it's just mush. It looks like a mountain. It just looks like a mountain.
'Cause it is, yeah.
Very curious.
If you remember, Rich, though, that they've also found pyramids shaped things to the side of this.
Yeah, that's Cydonia.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Mars'
that,
face.
but this was close to that.
Yeah, right. It was right around the corner. Yeah, it's in the same region.
Coincidence? Just pareidolia coincidence in that
I know
area?
it's weird.
Well-
I hear you, man.
That's what shatters pareidolia when you start having consistencies. That's when you should
Yes.
actually start really taking the time and analyzing it in a different way. I remember what I was going to say. What's the biggest reason that we're colonizing Mars? Is it proximity and similar environment? I'm just curious. Why not a different planet? Does anybody know?
Well, in Elon's, go on, Lee. No.
I was just going to say, I think it's the closest one, isn't it? We can get
Proximity.
to. So,
And
I
there's
mean,
water.
realistically, you would think though, if we were going to colonize Mars, that we'd start colonizing Mars from the point of having like colonies on the moon.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
We
you
don't
would
have
think
colonies
so.
on the moon.
yeah.
Well,
We
But why is
we
this
don't
such-
have we don't have anything on the moon.
No, exactly. But you think that would be the starting point, wouldn't you? You think we would have at least settlements, because the idea being that you could colonize the moon, you could build your rockets on the moon, then you don't need to use all that solid fuel getting off the planet.
you have a very good point there,
Yeah.
Lee. You really do.
Well, that's the plan, isn't it? They want to get back to the moon. That's the big thing that NASA are saying. Back to the moon. You know, they get back to the moon. They build the base. From the base, because of the gravity on the moon, they can then venture out into space.
Maybe the reason we're picking Mars, besides the proximity, is that's, again, coming back to that theory. This is the planet that we visited most some ancient years ago. I don't know. I keep coming back to that. For some reason, I feel like there's a connection there as to why we're drawn to that planet, and why maybe even sitting here today, we can have such a natural conversation about living on Mars, which will be a reality within the next handful of years.
Maybe
Mar-
we're drawn to it because it's home. You know.
Mars has
Well-
water. It's got the caps have water. We've seen water leaking out of the sand dunes. Barry McKeon with a 5-pounder.
Well, wasn't
Thanks, Rich. Thanks. Thank you,
I'm
Barry.
I'm living off memory here, so this is always a dangerous thing. But what wasn't it like even back? What would have been up? Would have been 100 years ago when the War of the Worlds was originally written. Wasn't that book written because astrologers were looking at Mars through telescopes
Yeah.
and they were seeing anomalies
Canals.
like back then? Yeah.
The canales. They thought there were canals on Mars. So they thought there was, some sort of alien race or humans maybe building water canals. And the War of the Worlds, 1939, I believe, or something like that, 32. It's a long time ago.
It reminds me
Do you
of
guys?
Hoagland's
Do you guys
work.
think? Do you guys think past a landing? Do you think we will colonize Mars?
In our lifetime.
Yeah. Because I wonder whether this is just the next thing. It's like you look how long the can's been kicked down the road to go back to the moon or to do anything on the moon. It seems like these things come up, lots of money gets spent, and then it just gets knocked back a decade and knocked back a decade.
Well, Lee, without the risk of being demonetized, according to what you sent me this evening, we already have colonized Mars.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Wait, they're saying the one on the left is Mars?
No, the one on the left is Mars, but so I said to Lee, I said, do we know enough about the source of this? Because my suspicion
I don't know the source of it. I've seen it a lot.
Is
seen
that
it a
Greenland?
lot.
that is actual green. Well,
It-
I don't know if it is or not. I think that's Mars, and I think somebody's photoshopped that to hell,
As
and it's being
Greenland?
done extremely. I say it's been done extremely well. It's very pixelated, but when it's pixelated like that, all you need to do is they change the color tones.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of people do say that rover is in Greenland, and NASA have actually said they do training
Yeah.
in Greenland.
So maybe we
I'll
see that
send-
there. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Maybe the one on the left is, you know, it's. I think that might be the filtered one, in certain ways. I mean, it's hard to tell, Ollie. I mean, you bring up some good points about the pixelation, but if you look in the background on the one on the right here, you see this green patch that appears to be some sort of grass or foliage. As it goes off to the left and sort of hooks around this other structure, you see the color run out with the shadow, but the structure itself appears now to be rock. So to me, something's been manipulated there, and you can certainly observe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna
the
send you something.
it's the pixelation that you just can't trust it. You know, it's such a, when you've got a pixelated image like that, anybody can work with that and fool anybody. So I think that's probably a picture of Mars, and they may have photoshopped the rover out, and I don't think it's a picture of Greenland. I think that actually is Mars. It could be vice versa though. You can't trust these you just can't.
I sent you a picture to pop up, Ollie.
Okay, while I'm bringing that up, I did discover a hatch once, an opened hatch, and this is pareidolia at its best. But I can't describe this rock, because it's at an angle. It looks like somebody's opened a hatch on Mars. There you go. While I'm getting that image, bear in mind, boys, I was going through a really bad time when I just trolled Mars images like this.
If you didn't tell me that was a hatch, I would have thought it was just shadow.
It probably is just shadow, Rich.
But since you implanted it in my brain, I see a hatch.
You see, it's not just me. I even see a handle.
Yeah, the handle looks like, yeah. On the right.
I see something in the way of manipulation of that photo. If you look in the center there where it should be the darkest, it's not. It seems to be some sort of circular area that may have been brushed or augmented in some fashion. Do you guys see that right in the center of that?
In the center of the circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the center of the circle? Or the
When you're looking
picture?
at in the circle, that little structure that's in the middle there, that I think you guys are talking about, right in the center there, underneath the bottom side of that facade, the rock, you can see the grains stop off. Something soft has been, played with the photo there. It almost looks like it's brushed.
Wow.
Well,
Also,
I enhanced the image in Photoshop, but I didn't.
I don't
you
see it anywhere else in the
Photoshop hatch
picture.
That's straight off. I've got the actual soul image somewhere. I will link it in the description below so people can check it out. But I've not done much with it other than kind of like brightened it and done the contrast and what have you. With that one there.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that you've done with, some light and
Do you
contrast
think
or something
NASA's
like that.
done it?
I certainly do. Absolutely. There's something there, at least from what I can see.
Okay, Lee. Yeah, I've got this little. It's tiny. The image has come up. It's like a tiny little. The image has come up, Lee. It literally, like a thumbnail. Well, this is actually the size of my thumbnail.
Oh, gross.
So I definitely could not share that because we wouldn't be able to see it. Actually, no. You know what? It'll be fun. Let's save it.
Hang on.
Call it tiny. Save. There we go. Let me see. It may come up big. We may be able to see what it is. Who knows?
Yeah, Mr. D.B. Cooper, it was a documentary. Well, the ideas were heavily influenced by certain things that I'm sure you could talk about.
Total Recall might be a documentary. Oh, so in terms of which one though? Because me and Rich had an argument about this because Rich likes Total Recall, the remake where they go to the center
I do
of
too.
the Earth.
It's a good
No,
film.
I never saw it.
No!
As far as I knew, there was only one Total Recall. So I didn't know.
You all just insult Arnold and his beautiful film with a big giant red snooker ball that he pulls out of his nostrils. but no, I loved the first Total Recall. I watched it over and over again as a child, and I haven't watched it in a long time. But it probably looks shite now to watch it back. But I know what Mr. DB Cooper's saying. And is it the end where Arnold goes into that tomb thing to start the terraforming of the
reactor.
planet, and it's an alien's hand on there, and he puts his hand on it. It's a hand with 3 fingers. Am I getting that right?
Right.
Yeah, it was like this, I think.
Yeah, that's right. You had it right. Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring this
And
up.
he put his paw on there because it had to be a human hand or the alien hand to match
Oh
it.
no, it's come up, Lee. It's come
What
up
is
full.
that?
That's the NASA training rover on Devon Island in Greenland.
Oh wow.
But when you look at the topography, obviously it's a bit more pixelated than was when I downloaded it.
Yeah. It's Mars.
You can see how that could be made to look like what we look at as Mars in a filter.
Big time. I think we're on Mars though.
You think when you say you think actual human beings are on Mars, or do you think the rovers are on Mars?
Rovers.
The rovers, okay. Because but if there is a space force, a secret space force, and I'm not talking about what's his name, the guy with the hair.
Wilcock?
No, the other one, the one that he promoted. They've both got hair. They've both got weird
Corey
hair.
Good?
Yeah, they've both got really strange, somebody that you wouldn't want to hang around with at a park if you had like a small member of the family. They've both got strange hair like that. I love them guys. I'm only kidding. It's just a sick joke. But that's the guy that was in the Secret Space Force, isn't it? Corey Good, and he was apparently on. Did he go to Mars? Was he fighting the bat? Yeah.
He went to Mars, saw the blue avians. He's been regressed 20 years, I think, 3 times. He should be 100 years old, 140. Because he goes to Mars, stays there for 20 years, and then they make him back into the 13-year-old kid he was before he left.
That's probably why he's got a 13-year-old child's hairdo.
It's really
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Is that the guy that was supposed to he met himself here when he came back or something?
I can't
Or is that
know.
a
I think
different
that's
More than likely.
I think that's somebody else. I think is that Stephen Embry or Embry?
Maybe.
I can't remember all
Emery
these.
Smith? Is that who you're
Emery,
thinking?
yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
It doesn't matter. That guy.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's weird that I think it's weird that all these guys are standing up and having a story maybe similar to each other, but at least there's a core foundation that runs through it, that there's a secret space force and they're using people against their will and so forth. This obviously isn't something new that we've heard, but why do this to yourself, man? I mean, if you've got a family, if you've got a life, if you were in some sort of prestigious position in the military, why would you do this and go out there and continue to spew out this stuff that everybody thinks is complete nonsense and you should be locked up for it?
I can tell you why. Honestly,
Come on.
this is the honest, the goodness truth. I don't think they expected it to get that big. I think so many people started going on board with it. They're like, what the hell is going on here? People are buying this. Let's try this. And then
Buying
they
what?
enhanced the story and more people kept absorbing it and loving it. And I think they got stuck into something they didn't expect that would last this long. They probably thought they were going to be one-story hit wonders, and now they've got a lifetime making money on it and everything else that comes with it. It's a whole big lie by
That's
accident.
possible. That's possible, Rich.
But Corey Good did plagiarize. I can't remember the guy's story, almost word for word. The same exact experience from the book and everything.
It's awful.
And made it his own. It's pretty amazing.
Have you read it?
I did read, not the whole thing, but I read what I needed to see the similarities. I just can't remember. It was a long time ago.
So when you say it's pretty amazing, you're talking about the book? It's pretty amazing, or just the story? Is the book good?
It's good, but what's amazing is how accurately he copied it, the story. and that he still gets away with it.
That's incredible.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 20 years later, but nonetheless, how did he get away with it? Because people didn't read this book. People didn't know about this obscure story about this guy going to Mars with the blue avions and all that crap.
If he'd have said violet aliens,
That would
you
have
know,
been, yeah.
I would have been from what's
wouldn't
been from what's come out recently with Angeli. I'd have been like,
Aunt
you know,
Jelly.
Corey Good was not full. I've told you about this, Rich. I've told you about this. You do this all the time. You say stuff, and you know that I believe Angeli.
Yeah, you do.
You
believe
don't.
it.
You don't.
I don't,
She won't.
but
She won't go on your show. She'll come on mine because I believe you, Angeli. I believe that you went into a cave with Strange Wayne, and you know.
Went to Wayne's
You're gonna
World.
come on your show?
No, no, she will not.
Yeah, she is.
Is she?
Didn't she on Twitter say something about an addict, or that she was an addict? I don't remember how that story
She
went
said
down.
no. She's an addict of the show.
Oh, right. That's
yeah.
right. That's right. She's now addicted to your show. She's watched, and she really likes you. She thinks you're kind of handsome too. That's strange considering you're a married man. Watch out, Ollie.
I'm not married,
She
right?
made-
Our names go.
I mean,
well
I didn't know you
together.
felt that. Oh, you're talking about Ollie. Sorry. Okay, I got confused. Apologize.
You.
In all fairness, I thought Stephen did a great job.
Stephen?
Stephen
Oh.
Cambion.
He did all right.
Yeah.
He did have a different angle.
Did you see Nocturnal News have a little dig at him?
No, did he?
You haven't? Oh God, you've not seen it. It's a like it. I had to comment on it, and I normally don't. I normally stay out of people's, business. I can't be bothered. But it's like he basically said you interviewed a mad woman, and you should for that you should be, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like she's crazy. I'm like, I'm sorry, mate. She's the one that's putting herself out there. She's the one that said, she's got a government background. That actually does kind of check out, according to Steve.
It does.
Yeah. So what's wrong with him interviewing her? Because
Nothing.
she's the one that's putting all this out. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. It's all wrong.
I'll tell you why it's wrong, because Stephen Cambion was saying how wrong it was to interview people that are criminals and liars and trying to make money out of something that's not real. And then he goes and has her on his show. Now, Stephen and I are going to talk about this on my show, because he messaged me. He's like, I'd still want to be friends. And I'm like, I'm not mad at you at all. But I understand why he had her on.
I would have her on.
Yeah, I understand it, but then you can't say to other people you cannot have criminals on your show. Billy Carson was in trouble with the law 20-something years ago, and Stephen Cambion went after Jimmy Church for having him on his show and promoting his stuff, his commercials, on Jimmy Church's show. But look, Anjali hasn't made any money yet. She is going to write a book. But when after all this happens, look, down the road, 6 months to a year from now, she'll be financially okay. Let's just put it that way. So she can easily say now that I'm not in it for the money. It's easy to say now because you haven't done it yet.
See, I knew this would happen. We start off with Mars and then we go on to the Angeli.
Well, you said her name. You said it 3 times.
Is that what's this?
This
Is that a book?
This book is absolutely incredible. And yes, it is some sort of channeled reading that the author gets into. But I got my hands on this back in the 90s, and I was blown away by the information and the claims that it made. Now, it goes full circle, okay? I'm sure you can find this book. Unfortunately, the author, Amora Kuan Yin, has passed away, so I couldn't get her on the show to talk about it. But just looking at the contents here, the table of contents, you start off with the colonization of Venus. Part 2 is colonization of Mars, and it goes on to Maldek, and then the colonization of Earth, and then it starts going into more of a spiritual rendition of these civilizations and how they're founded and what happened to them. She talks about in this book how at one point, not necessarily people, the way that human beings, we were in possibly other bodies that maybe resembled this and indigenous to the planet itself. Planets were colliding. blowing up. I mean, maybe we had something to do with it, maybe we didn't. But we kept having to take this life energy and placing it somewhere else in the universe to continue forward. I highly recommend checking it out. Yes, take it with a grain of salt, but see what resonates if you guys decide to check it out. Palladian's Perspectives on Human Evolution by Amora Kuan Yin. Very cool book, guys.
DarkHour, I struggle to read, but I like your voice. So here's a
I'll read
deal.
you.
What about? Yeah, I was thinking, one night before bed, if I ring you, just put you on the side,
Sure.
and then you can read it to me.
Sure can. Gives him that bedroom voice.
Going slightly back to Billy Carson, I got offered I say got offered a deal. I suppose I can speak about it because no money was talked about, but I got offered to work on his platform, which is, I forgot the name. It's like a YouTube Netflix thing. But not by Billy, by people who work for Billy, who have actually been on my channel. I don't know if they're aware, because they're nice people, to be fair. They're really nice people. I don't know if they're aware how what's gone off in the background with him. But it's interesting. This field is full of, people who have got strange backgrounds, dodgy backgrounds. Maybe it's just humans in general. Maybe we're all just bastards. we all have dodgy backgrounds.
I wouldn't doubt it, brother.
I'm clean as a whistle.
I don't mean even just the personality. I mean, you talk about as a whole here, as a collective.
I mean, I don't know the man. I don't know Billy. I know he always speaks about, the mind and this, that, and the other, the body, and then he says he's going to build a spacecraft. He did once. He did mention at one point that he was on about working with people to build a spacecraft. That seems to be the in thing at the moment. I just if somebody can build me a spacecraft that's safe, I'll get in it. But you've got to get in it first. 500 times. Not a chance. There's not a chance. That's the other risk factor there. And going back to what I'm just going to go watch Rich's show last week on the Saturday. Rich thought I was falling asleep. I wasn't falling asleep, Rich. No. But we mentioned the robots. We were speaking about the robots, and I said at some point, Elon's robot, that'll probably be the first thing to land on Mars. That robot that he's making, because Elon's the one that's wanting to go land on Mars. It's a risky job to get human beings there. What do they do when they're there? How are they going to build the thing? Are they going to have enough supplies? Is the atmosphere going to be a little bit hard for them to work in? Is the best thing to do to get that robot that is developing for grandma and granddad to do the job? Will they be
makes
the first?
Sense. Yeah, it makes sense to send Elon's Terminators.
I like that. Elon's Terminators.
It's my new punk band.
E1000s.
I dig. When you guys dropping an album?
About 15 minutes, I think. I'm just going to open GarageBand. Yeah, no, it makes sense to send robots, doesn't it? And if he can do like what he said those things are going to be when they come out next year, sounds pretty fucking crazy.
Is it next year? Or is it next year the prototype? Next
year the prototype's coming out. They're gonna show one next year.
And when he did the first Tesla car, how long? I'm not expecting you to know this, Lee, or anybody, but it wasn't long, was it, before he was selling them?
Tesla's different because he bought a company. Tesla
Right.
was a different company that he acquired, so they were already in the business of building electronic cars. He was essentially he bought it and then invested money into it. I don't know if there was any robot building companies around that he could have acquired, but Tesla is a technology company. I think is going to be quite important, over the coming years or decades.
Do you boys think the interest there with Mars is more than just a second home? Do you think there's a genuine from NASA's perspective here? I'm not talking about like the world or science as a whole. I'm talking about NASA that's there right now with these rovers. Do you think there's an interest there because they found something and they found something extremely interesting?
Well, we've still got the talk that there's supposed to be a monolith on Phobos, isn't there?
Yeah, Buzz mentioned that as well.
Yeah, Buzz mentioned it in an interview. That we still haven't been to see the monolith. He just dropped that in.
He said, "Who put it there? God."
What, the monolith?
Yeah. On
The
Phobos.
monolith could just be some sort of rock. We don't know what it is.
But you've got an astronaut that said it's a monolith.
No, we got an astronaut who says it looks like a monolith, and he believes it. Doesn't mean it's true.
No, that is true.
He's a crazy wacky old dude, man. He's a little bit far out.
He
And
is
Buzz
now.
Aldrin-
He wasn't as wacky then, though.
It's the same guy. Yes, he was that way. He was just a little more smooth about it. But the older he got, the more brazen he got. Because he got older and he saw that people were believing him, so he started acting a different way. But his belief system and the way he did things, yeah, I think he's the same dude we saw 40 years ago.
He's promoting Mars, though, isn't he? You always see I remember you used to see the NASA T-shirts on him, but now you see the NASA T-shirt with Mars on it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I don't like Buzz.
You don't? You wouldn't have dinner with him?
I really don't like the guy. I'll have dinner with him just to watch his teeth. But I don't know what that means. I have worse situations. No, there's something about him that's putting me off, and it always has, and I don't know what it is.
I think there's something odd about most astronauts, to be perfectly honest. You know, we've spoke about it before on this show, haven't we? The interview when they came back, you know, when they were all sat in a line. You know, the fact that they basically became recluses, didn't they? Most of them, apart from Buzz, which would go to the opening of an envelope. But there's something strange, you know. There's something changes those people with whatever happened to them. And don't get me wrong, it could just be they were the first people to go and land on a different piece of rock. But I feel it's something more than that.
When you say you feel it's something more than that, do you genuinely believe that? Is it just a feeling? Is it just a
just the way they act, the way they react with things, doesn't make sense to me. You know, even when you look at Neil Armstrong's last interview, you know, when he did that presentation in front of the school kids, and I can't remember verbatim, but he said that there's so much yet to discover if you can pull back truth protective layers, and you're just like, that's a fucking weird thing to say to a load of school kids. All he needed to say was, I stood on the moon, motherfuckers. And that would have been fine.
You got a point.
Yeah, and that's what you'd say. That's what I would say if I was an astronaut. I'd have a T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I landed on the
sell
moon.
it. Motherfuckers.
First person to put a fucking foot on something that wasn't Earth. And, like, you know, the biggest flex in human history. And you decide that you don't really want to talk about it.
I showed my dad the clip of, I've forgotten the guy's name, where it says, can you put the hand on the Bible, swear that you went to the moon? Who's the guy? I've forgotten his name. Somebody in the chat will know.
Sergeant.
No, that's not Mark Sargent. No,
That's Flat Earther.
It was the guy.
That's the guy who told him, dude.
No, it wasn't Mark Sargent.
Oh, you're right. It was the guy that. Yeah.
He tried to interview Neil. Neil just shunned him, went no, and he tried to interview Buzz.
Yeah.
He did interview Buzz, and then he approached Buzz at a hotel and went swear on the Bible that he went to the moon, and then Buzz just gives him a nice boof to the face.
He should be in jail.
Yeah, it wasn't Buzz, was it? Wasn't that another one?
No, that was Buzz that
was
hit him.
Was it
Buzz,
Buzz?
yeah.
I thought
I
it was another
showed
one.
my dad that, and he went, "He deserves that." You know.
Yeah.
I watched it on television. That's an insult. That's an insult there. But
why won't they put their hand on the Bible? They got nothing to hide. Just say, "Here you go. I went to the
why
moon."
should they?
Because it's fun. Then just play the game. Why get so angry? They all get angry at the guy.
Okay, here's the big thing then, Rich. So if he didn't put his hand on the Bible, so if they're all devil worshippers and that, they'd just put the hand on the Bible, wouldn't they?
Oh, it wouldn't
They
make
are.
a difference to them if they
No.
were Luciferian. The Bible wouldn't mean anything to them. So why
Unless
wouldn't he just do it for the game? Like
Unless
Richard
he
said.
burn his hand.
So the other thing to say there is, if they've done something so crazy as to go out into the stars, like one of the most like God-breaking things you could possibly think of, to be amongst the stars, like you're just destroying the idea of like there being any sort of like firmament and all that sort of stuff. Why would you do that and come back so religious that you wouldn't lie when touching a Bible? What's going on?
It's his fucking background. It's Rich's background. Sorry.
Sorry, I just saw it. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I had to
God.
show it.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just Lou. It was just when his head moved and he's just fucking dying. You know, Richard tells. If you did that, if you went on Richard's show and did that with some guests, Richard tell you off.
Did what?
Still can't.
I would tell you off.
I'm joking. I've just noticed Neil on the side.
Look at everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Corbell's a conehead.
Did you do that? Did you do that, Rich?
No.
Oh, it's
Somebody sent it
genius.
to me.
Beautifully done. I love it.
It's well
Greer.
done, church.
It's
I would
everybody.
buy- I would-
Everybody's
I would-
involved.
I would buy a poster of
Knapp.
that.
Yeah.
See, there's Knapp right there. You got John Greenwald behind.
It
Blue.
looks like George has got indigestion. He's like, oh.
He's angry.
How do
Jimmy
you
Church.
feel about Lou's book?
Oh my God! Well, it hasn't come out yet.
No, but the fact that there's a book coming,
He penned a deal the same day that we got the announcement. There's going to be an office in the SOD inside the DOD, inside the Pentagon. Information's never getting out anywhere. What a bunch of crap! I hate this place.
You'll read it though, Rich. You'll buy that book.
I'm like you, Ollie. I'll
No, you're
read
not.
it.
I can't read.
Well, I can't either. I don't like to read. Let's just put it that way. But I'll read it because I have to.
I'll get my wife to read it.
I'll read it. I'm not buying it though. I won't buy it.
She'll probably divorce me after.
I'd rather risk trying to steal it than buy it.
That would be a great video.
Oh my
Rich
God!
Jordana. Is it Best Buy that you can get anything in
Barnes
Best Buy?
and
Is that
Noble, right?
Under $1,000, you can.
It's all right.
Get away.
If he said anything to you, you could just turn around and say, well, "Look, if you could speak to all the people that you helped steal money from To the
Yeah.
Stars Academy, then we'll talk about me stealing your book."
Yeah.
I would love. I may ask him. I would like to ask him the real reason why they split ways with TTSA.
I know.
And
I
I'd like to know. And Lou's not been on Joe Rogan yet, but Lou, you let me down here because I did predict it. Let me find the little. There we go. Will happen someday, boys. That will happen.
I think it will.
Yeah, it should.
I know,
Seems only
right?
natural.
Yeah.
But only just before the book releases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. But
Rogan seems to be quite cold on all that stuff now, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's a bit-
UFOs.
Than anything.
Yeah. There was a time there where anyone that was on any of his guests that even had a passing interest in it, he would bring up the Lazar interview, or he'd start talking about all the different things. I mean, even to the point where you look at his the background logo now, it's got a big UFO above the Joe Rogan Experience, hasn't it? But he seems to have cooled off all that sort of stuff.
when he'd had the show, Joe Rogan Questions Everything, he said when he was filming that show, he had to hang out with all these people in all these different fields, and he said every one of them were loopy or just nutty. And he said, I just can't buy into it, these crazy people. And then he, called the Bigfoot people and UFO people a bunch of single old losers, that we can never get laid. And this is all we have is each other. So he said a lot of hateful things that I don't like. But he said it's because everything he tried to find out about was debunked and non-provable. And he says, I just don't believe in it anymore.
The thing is, though, he didn't believe that we went to the moon. For a long time, Joe Rogan did not believe. He thought the moon landings were fake.
He's flipped back into that a bit more. He's brought that up a couple of times on his show, and he said he's 50-50 on it now.
But what I was going to say is, he had the melon on, and not once did TTSA get brought up. I find that odd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's certain people come on and there's like clauses in the interview. He interviewed Macaulay Culkin. Michael Jackson was not mentioned.
Yeah.
That's weird.
If you interview Macaulay Culkin, you're going to bring up Michael Jackson.
I'd have slipped it in quicker than Michael.
Jesus.
Lee, you're going to get me to...
There's your demonetization.
You mean... Yeah, you mean the chewing gum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he meant you slipped in the story.
Yeah. Skip by that. Skip by that algorithm.
Talking about your sausage, all right.
Sausage flavored chewing gum. This is slowly turning into a different show.
Hey, Ollie. Can I showcase something on your show for a minute and a half?
100% can, because we need it right now.
Oh, yes.
Hang on, is this in context? Because you might not want him to.
It's totally out of context of everything. This is actually something that Third Phase did.
Beautiful. Let's get it up.
And you will
Gorgeous.
You will be a part of this eventually.
Is this what I think it might be?
No, you have no idea.
Oh, so
Tell
it's
me
not
when
the trailer?
you're ready. No.
Okay.
The trailer? Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready, let me in. And we have to. And don't forget, we're gonna echo.
Let's put us on mute. 3, 2, 1, go.
The rabbit hole here for a second. Let's just assume this is some sort of adversarial or foreign technology.
Most of the more than 120 incidents over the past 2 decades are not from the U.S. military or other advanced U.S. government technology.
It gets right in front of me, it just disappears. Disappears. Like gone.
To be clear, he's referring to this giant object as a Tic Tac, as he said it was shaped like one.
We're in, that we don't know what these things are, and they might even be extraterrestrial. That's worse.
Yeah.
They fucking killed it, dude. Come on.
No,
Oh, my
it was
God,
intense.
dude.
I got goose pimples.
I know, right?
You know what's funny? When I woke up this morning, because I fell asleep early last night, but I woke up and I saw that they had, posted this, and I said, oh, okay, cool. I'll check it out. I didn't really even know the extent of it. I just saw it was up. I had the opening on, dude, and literally the frisson was so intense it woke me up. Like, people drink coffee. Nope, just watch that trailer. You're fine.
Yeah, Paula will do that to you. She'll wake you up. I'm a married man. She gave me goof. Oh no. The trailer's great. It's great. The thing is, they've come so far in the way they make documentaries. Now, if you look back in the day when they first did them, they were still good, you know. But it's the professionalism they do now. You know, the people they've got on board with you guys. I think the team's great. I think they need another woman as well as Paula with you boys. You know, you need to even it out a little bit. Get another girl on board.
Oh, we can bring Lee on.
I was just about to say that.
He is adorable.
He's cute. He's a cutie.
He thinks we can hear him. It's so adorable.
Isn't that?
He's still on.
No, I'm not. No,
you're not. No, you're not. You
Helen
just
Keller.
you're just speechless.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Maya Angelou. Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably just as well for your channel, if I'm honest, Ollie.
I've told you to be on your best behaviour.
It was a joke that had very much things to do with transitions.
Okay. I do. That trailer was great, really great. I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
So is that part 2 to the original?
Part 2 to the original what?
Is that like a lead up from the is that the second from the is it Disclosure Project that they did the first one?
You mean Countdown to Disclosure?
Yeah, is that like a build
No,
up to
this
the next?
was
Is
this just for the panel.
Right. So this is not for a new doc. This is just like a channel advert.
Yes, and the panel, and that we're all working together, and don't forget
now I'm
us.
even more excited to speak about what I shouldn't know about. So I'm just gonna I'm dropping myself in here.
About what do you mean? The documentary that's coming out?
Is that common knowledge? Am I allowed to speak about it?
The
new
documentary? Yeah, you can talk about it. You just can't tell what's in it if you've seen
Okay.
anything.
No, I haven't seen anything yet.
Well, I have, and it's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It's really
breathtaking.
unbelievable.
Greer's in it.
Greer's in it. Michael Schratt's in it. Billy Carson's in it. Adair's not in it. Who else, Michael? D'Souza's in it.
Yep. Let's see. Who else do we
Jim
have in there?
Goodall's in it.
Jim Goodall had quite a bit to say in that.
Bob Lazar. Isn't Bob Lazar in it?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
No.
But those key players that Rich just mentioned, they all make more than a few moments of appearance, and they really lend a lot of thought, and you guys are going to be absolutely blown away. I know I was when I watched it. I'm sure Rich would express the same sentiment. Just, on your toes kind of thing, just watching this. I was feeling that way about Countdown to Disclosure, but the way that these guys have put this together the second time around is just, it's on another level.
It's on another level of OMF. Huh? It is really, really... I'm telling you, it's extremely important what's being said in this documentary. And people need to know what Greer is talking about. I can't say it, but when you hear what he says, you're going to be like, holy crap, it's going to make you mad. It should, anyway.
So as much as this is started off with I knew this had happened, which is absolutely fine because people that make it this far, that it needs to change up the video. You can't talk about red rocks for this long into a video. But where was the turning point for you with Greer, Rich? Because I can remember you were his biggest fan, but then something happened and you were like,
I was his biggest fan, you said?
No, you wasn't his biggest fan.
And I'm not.
And then
I'm
no,
still
but then
not.
something happened. No, but then something happened because it was almost like when I used to speak to you a few years ago, you didn't have much respect for the guy, but now something happened. I can remember when it happened, and you were like, "Yeah, there's something there." And I think the turning point, because the turning point for me was when he did that.
The video on his own.
Yeah, when he did the video. Yeah, when he did. Yes. That was kind of the. And I know you met him before that.
Yeah, I met him in November of last year. But take away the CE5 and I'm okay with what Greer's doing.
Yeah.
I'm more than okay with what Greer's doing. But the CE5, and I seen the people that go to a CE5 events, and they're just people who want something to believe in. It's almost like not maybe a religion, but maybe it is
a cult.
Could be.
And
but it's not.
I know, but I don't necessarily even think that a cult
Yeah.
has to be a bad thing. You know, it's
Right.
like a support network for people that are into the same sort of thing.
It's a bad word, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah, and I've listened intently to what Greer said throughout all of this time, and what's been going on recently has changed me a little bit towards Greer. Yeah, and I know Greer does a lot of things to be in the limelight and, don't want to be left out. I'm Greer. I need to be in this discussion like he did this year with the June, the 180-day thing. But what he did had to happen. It changed everything. The narrative was threat, and Greer was on the other side saying no, no, no. And nobody else was challenging him that could be heard. We were saying it, all of us, but nobody was listening really until Greer went on third phase of Moon, and they had that challenge they put out to Elizondo and the rest of them to come on and let's debate it. And everybody chickened out. They all chickened out. And Corbell lost his freaking mind, was very rude to them and thought they were scamming him, into doing something, make him look bad. And I mean, that's my fault because I called him live on air and how'd you get my phone number type of deal, So it was a very interesting reaction, which, by the way, will be in the documentary, things you guys don't know about.
The reason why I asked this, Rich, is because in that, he spoke about that we are already in space, and as soon as we get weapons in space, we'll start shooting ET crafts down. So when I'm talking about, have we been to the moon yet? Have we been to Mars? Do you buy that he's saying? Do you buy what he's saying in that? Do you think that is what they're wanting to do? They're wanting to
weaponize space?
Not just weaponize space, because that's quite that is very believable. Because if you look, if you're orbiting the Earth, and what faster way to shoot at a country from space, yeah? But do you think, because what he was saying is that these weapons are going to be used against ET craft. Do you believe that the information that he has and that he was putting out in that documentary that he pulled out within 40 days? What was it? A bit more than 40 days, maybe. Yeah. Do you believe that information to be true?
Not all of it. I don't know what I know what he said, but it's very hard for me to believe without seeing it.
Because he pulled it away from what Lou, and
Yeah.
he pulled it away from the threat and said that these are a threat, but then he did another number, he did one up from that. He said, we're going to start shooting the fuck out of these little grey bastards. The ETs. That's basically what he said in that documentary. So you've got one madman saying that the aliens are a threat, and then you've got one madman. I'm not saying you're a madman. Come on the show, please. You've got another madman saying that they're going to shoot these little fuckers out of the sky. So which one is it? Who's right? Lou or Greer? Greer's saying, Greer, we're going to blow that. We're going to kick ass and chew bubble gum. Yeah. And Lou is saying that, we need to book his ideas up.
I don't remember Greer saying that. That is so weird.
He, in so many words, in riddles that he spoke, he was making out that, and I'm not. He could be right. He could be right. I would like to side more with Stephen than with Lou. Because if the extraterrestrials are a threat, then we're fucked.
But we're not. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but if we threaten them, we're also.
Yeah. But I don't think that's what he was saying. I thought he was saying we're making weapons in space to protect ourselves from China and Russia taking out our satellites.
No, he said they were going to shoot the ETs.
Well, I've got a question.
That's what I got from it.
Okay. Well, I'll watch it again, parts of it.
I wanted to bring this up with you guys last week when I couldn't make it on the show because it's like technology based. But did you see, if this might have been not last week, the week before, somebody took a picture of what looked like some sort of unknown stealth aircraft. It was a good picture, it was like a sort of airline sort of altitude. And it was the people were saying, oh, it could be a US spy plane that was in the air, or it could have been a Chinese spy plane that was spying on the US that had been snapped. And I couldn't help myself think that with all this stuff going on about all the secret technology we've got, because this was clearly a solid fueled like stealth jet. It looked like a evolution of what we already know as stealth aircrafts.
Do you have this picture by any chance?
I'll have to have a young Jamie on the internet and try and find it.
What was the?
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was just a news article I read about it.
Okay.
But what I couldn't just decide was, if we're always talking about this sort of secret technology we've got and how we've got all this stuff that's so far advanced, why all of a sudden do we see a solid fueled spy plane that we've never seen before?
And why is
do you
it
know what I mean?
Fueled?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to see the evolution of, our technology. Like I've said before, I think, much of what they have in way of military technology, especially, we're talking 80, 100 years ahead of what you and I have in our pocket, but we're getting the back end of what they can't use anymore, don't want to use anymore, give it to them, make some money on it. So, this is a whole scheme here that goes down in way of how that monetization trickles within their technology through time and what they're actually going to end up giving us. And again, I think one of the reasons that, at least if it's us, we're so brazen about, the stuff we see in the sky and what they may be flying is because it's so elusive and it's so far away from something tangible in the way that the public can hold, they just don't care. Like, screw it,
If, when you look at like where we are right now globally, and everything's pretty tense, it's, we could be looking at something that's pretty grim just on the horizon. If it was a foreign country that was using a spy plane to spy on the US, do you not think they'd use like the best thing they had to do it? If they were using it for military purposes.
Yep.
Of course they would. But maybe they are,
That's
and
what I mean.
Maybe what you saw is just the decoy.
It could be.
I'm meant to say that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I also think... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, or maybe whatever we're seeing, like in the sky, has absolutely nothing to do with people. None of them.
Like my mate Dean that came on and said that they're flying rocks. I don't know if you remember that.
What?
My mate came on. He came on the show and he said the Tic Tac was a flying pebble.
Well, that's cute,
a literal rock with intelligence.
When you eliminate the impossible, whatever you're left with, no matter how improbable.
I also think at a certain point, with technology, you're understanding all the basics, the foundations, and you're able to manipulate and mold that the way you do clay, let's say. I think that at some point there's an apex that, in way of complexity with technology, starts to take a downturn. So it only gets so complex, and everything is built on these fundamental and more simple theories that possibly go right in way of nature or, something that can be observed naturally.
Like iPads. When you look at the interfaces we've had for computers for years and how it's been a complicated system of going through programs and using mice and multiple buttons and keyboards, and then we get to a point where it's literally intuitive design.
It's essentially what you're describing is a very minuscule example of that. Absolutely. Yep. And you look at this on a larger scale. I mean, you can throw entire principles out, maybe even in the way of Newtonian physics at certain point, and say, well, we can just bypass that because of what we know here, and it's just an easier route. I think as complex as human beings are, and as much as we can lend in the way of our mind and how we think and how we interpret things, we know we have limitations. So, when we're looking at some of these, crafts, just to say in the sky, we realize that somebody either went outside of that limitation that we would normally think that we can do, or they were able to work within that paradigm that they had. They just maybe took a different angle. Either way, it's pretty impressive.
It seems there is a limitation, though. It seems the limitation we have is what we're fueling everything that's on our planet. And I as much as we hear the whispers Lee's gone.
I'll be back, I'm sure.
As much as we hear the whispers of anti-gravity, of whatever, all we ever see is, engines that are driven by some sort of fuel. And, you hear the rumors, but you never see this technology ever. And like what Lee's just been saying there, an aircraft has just come out that has jet engines, and this is it's probably been in existence for a very long time. Sometimes I wonder, because you hear this all the time. The TR-3B is ours. The ones you see up in the sky, they're ours. Maybe they're not. Maybe we just do not have a clue how to recreate whatever technology we see in the sky. Or I think what Lee's saying there is that what if it's not technology that we're seeing? What if UFOs are not technology? What if it is something natural?
Well, then you get into the organic compound that people talk, or the element, I should say, within these crafts, which is hard to go forward with because it's really just based on observation, usually by people who aren't in the biology field or anything biological in that respect in way of study. And they say that they felt like it had an organic principle. I mean, I'm not sure how many people have been aboard one of these crafts and said, yeah, I could see the walls breathing, maybe the way that, an organic being would take in, oxygen and so forth. I think there's something else there that I really don't think we can describe or have anything familiar to compare it to just yet.
No, I never see it happening, I hear the rumors. I hear the fact that, people are saying this is going to happen. We're going to get this technology. We are going to Mars. It always seems that we're going to go. His broadband cut off. He's coming back on in a moment. He's just messaged me. What do you boys actually see any of this technology happening in our lifetime? I mean, it was mentioned earlier, Rich, about Mars, and you said no, it's not going to happen in your lifetime. You don't think we're going to actually go to Mars in your lifetime?
Nope.
Why not?
I think we're going to attempt it. I just don't think we're going to make it.
Humans.
Yeah.
But you think the robots will?
No, I don't think the craft will survive. I have a feeling there's going to be some sort of malfunction or some sort of sabotage. I just don't think people want us on Mars. And when I say people, I mean, people within the secret government will prevent this from happening. It's just my opinion. But I just have something inside of me tells me that we shouldn't be going there to do what we want to do. And I don't know if it's because there's something already there. I mean, you look at what's happened. I mean, in the past, a lot of these probes were taken out before they got to Mars, especially that Russian one that we saw the shadow of that, cigar-shaped craft. And next thing you know, the little, whatever you call it, rover thing was gone. Not rover, but their little spaceship was gone. It lost signal. crashed on Mars. And then it snapped a photo of what was near it, and it was this huge cylindrical craft, which is weird.
Rich, do you think, in Elon starting to put this idea together, maybe behind the scenes, that, he would send people to Mars, they would colonize it? Do you think, in the way of history, people have been always muted when they had ideas like this? Maybe the shadow government or the secret government would have come in at some point and said, hey, listen, we really appreciate what you're doing here, and we need you for a lot of things, but you can't do what you're proposing right now, before it actually hit the public and it became something more knowledgeable and accepted that we might take this journey.
So let's say they make it and they land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they start broadcasting. I think it ends right after that. I just have a feeling there's going to be too much disaster for them to produce anything or build any shelters on Mars. First of all, if they're going to go live on Mars, we have to send stuff there that can, I guess, blow up and build itself and create the environment. It's a very dangerous place. I don't even know why we would want to go live there. That's how dangerous it is, and very, very expensive. So for us to do all this, there must be something that we don't know about that's making us want to go there, other than it just being, maybe a second Earth or, something we could live on. But we can't. You go outside, you die. Your suit rips, you're dead. You could die within minutes. I just don't understand it, really, why we even want to.
Can we survive here if the population keeps going as it's going?
Well,
without doing a fifth element and having all the multi-story buildings for everybody to live in.
By the year 2040, there's going to be 9.5 billion people here. That is just ridiculous. And I say that because I'm only going by what statistics that the government gives us. What do I know? Can the Earth sustain 10 billion people? Well, apparently not, because we're running out of fresh water, according to people. That's going to be hard to come by. And we still don't turn salt water into fresh water for some reason. I don't know if it's bad for us to drink it. Nonetheless,
it's a necessity to do that at some point.
Yeah, water is the most vital thing, and we are apparently running out of fresh water. Once we get to that level, we'll be suffering.
Well, if something does happen on, the descent onto Mars or shortly thereafter, and the whole project gets kind of terminated because of something, again, that happens there, I would figure that'd be quite the deterrent, and it would take a handful of years before anybody really even considered, maybe it would be touted as, hey, look, you guys tried it, can't do it, don't try it again. And so it gets forgotten 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I mean, I worry about that too, at least in way of ambition, for the human race.
The shuttle blew up, and then, 18 months later, we were back up in flying shuttles again.
Right, but this is going to Mars, though, wherein, again, you mentioned how expensive it is to get there and to live there. It's not like maybe they can build another shuttle and then, head back out there with all the equipment that they had brought that had been blown up at some point upon impact or whatever else happens. You might be right, too, though, Rich. They may just get right back on the horse.
I could be wrong.
You might be right.
Yeah. We just don't know until we're there. I just don't see the purpose, really. I really don't. When we have so many problems here on Earth, why are we investing all these billions and maybe trillions of dollars to go to a planet that it's bad for us?
But if we could migrate the population to Mars at some point, surely that would make things better on this planet. If you could 50, just say miraculously you could 50-50 it. You could 50-50 the population between Mars and Earth.
Well, they just found out that we should be digging and living in Mars instead of on top of it. They just found out that those rocks can protect us from the radiation and the harshness of the environment. So maybe that's the future of Mars, is digging, going underground.
I'd actually say that that's the most probable outcome.
Yeah.
I think.
See,
in fact.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, okay.
No, I said a lot. Go.
I was only going to say, I really do think that we've already established an underground on Mars. How often we're visiting or how many people actually may be in service there, I don't know. From certain accounts and people who have done, remote viewing, and of course this ties into some of the black projects and what have you, take it again with a grain of salt. They said they found cavernous areas within Mars that housed all these relics and what might be considered tablets that had scripture on it and so forth. And they said some of them looked familiar to what you'd find here on Earth. So again, here's this odd tie-in. I think in this day and age, we're just absolutely intentionally missing something that's incredibly intrinsic to us as human beings. And we are struggling and suffering, trying to figure this out again, pushing through the dark, knowing that we have eyes and we can see. We just need the fucking light to do it. And the people who are holding the light, or what little is left of it, aren't giving any to us. It's so frustrating this time, and probably very unique within history if I were to just take an educated guess.
Do you think it's all going to get delayed? Like I'm talking not just the Mars mission, but do you think the Moon mission that was, I think it was, they said 2025. Did they say 2025? Do you think that's going to be delayed?
Well,
indefinitely.
I think they're going to attempt it. Probably 2026 we'll get there, but if we don't, then I really don't know. I think we'll go to the moon, but now we have high def 4K. They can't hide anything anymore, and I don't want to hear excuses. They better bring 3 different cameras.
So you mean when they're up,
some.
whoever they're up with, you want to see. You don't want to just see a inside a building with a little window that shows a bit of.
I want to see the stars. I want to see the mountains in the distance. I want to see everything in detail.
You want to look on Google Earth and see the base live.
Pretty much. We should have that. And I want it to be 24 hours. I think why not stream it 24 hours? Just put a satellite in between Earth and Moon.
Do you remember? I can still remember when they took the ISS live stream down, and they only do it now and again now.
Yeah.
But they had it running 24/7 at one point.
Well, they still do, don't they? Now it's recorded.
They put it up, and they put it up live, but it's not the same as it used to be.
Oh, really?
I think there is a buffer there too, Rich.
Yeah, like a 10-minute buffer or something in case something
like
shows
that.
up.
Yeah, yep.
Damn it.
Why wouldn't they protect themselves that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The local news does, so why wouldn't NASA?
I'll tell you what irritates me when you will look at footage from the ISS. There's always a woman with really long hair, that's just waving like this, and she's always got this huge necklace, medallion, that's going like this, and I'm just surely that's dangerous. You know, with all the electricity, all the bits, in space, just you put your hair in a bun or something, and you don't need to wear the necklace. I look at that and I'm like, I kind of understand. It's definitely real. They're definitely up there. The ISS is real. But when I look at that, and I was showing my dad this, and I said, "Do you not think that's ridiculous? You're on an international space station. That if a rock's a certain thickness hits that thing, it's just going to go straight through it, and probably straight through the person that's inside there. And this person that is talking to us, talking to Earth on the TV, has the hair just going like this." All waving around with all these little wires hanging down and all sorts of things, and then she's got this huge necklace that's just.
I see where the picture you're painting here.
It just seems a bit weird.
Irresponsible?
No, just a bit over the top.
Oh, maybe so.
Get rid of the necklace, pin your hair back, then the flat earthers won't have a problem. That's why they've got a problem. Because it's ridiculous. You shouldn't be dressed like that.
It can totally short something out or kill
Exactly,
yourself.
Rich.
I mean, you're in space, right? You have to take
Yeah.
every precaution. Don't have your hair and your jewels hanging out.
You don't put Rapunzel on the chuffing International Space Station. Yeah.
Don't have your hair and your jewels. Okay, I like that. I just thought of it.
There should
It
be a
is
ban.
weird.
Should be a
Hair and
ban
jewels.
from it. Hair and jewels. No long hair. No dangly jewels
Also,
on the International Space Station because it makes the flat earthers go crazy.
if you want to talk about fake space for a minute, you know when they're floating around and all this stuff and you see them hanging on the side and their head tilts a certain way, like because they want to keep it upright? That wouldn't happen if you were in space. Your head wouldn't need to tilt to upright. It would always stay straight because you're conditioned that way because of gravity. But when there's no gravity, there should be no reason for you to tilt yourself straight up. Have you ever noticed that when they're in when they're in fake space? There's no reason to tilt your head that way.
That's curious. No, I hadn't noticed that.
And they all do it. And also when they're sitting there and they're in it, and you ever notice they just interview on the news for 2 minutes or in a school? It's always with children asking questions, never with adults. You can see the veins in their heads, just like, and their heads look like they have pressure. That's because they're actually hanging upside down and their feet are in a harness. It's
Makes
true.
sense. That makes sense.
You're gonna get me demonetized. I'm gonna have like
How?
I'm gonna have all right, not demonetized.
I talked about it.
I'm gonna have one of them Wikipedia things, below that says flat Earth.
Yeah, it's gonna have everything.
People in the chat, I am not a flat earther, but
None of us are.
none of us are. But one thing I will stick up for them is that NASA is never a straight answer, and when you watch it, it sometimes looks a little bit ridiculous. So whatever's going on up there, just put your jewels away, put your hair in a bun, and we'll be cool. As far as I'm concerned, it's just the jewels in the hair that's my problem. But Rich, going back to what you were saying about the suit, do you remember the first? And I think was it the first spacewalk? And there was a few debunkers that put that out and said that space suit couldn't move like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that was weird. And
Is that
the guy
true
goes
that it couldn't do that?
It can't.
Because the debunkers said that it can't do that.
It can't.
But
It's all.
What did the engineers say? You know what they said? Fuck all. They don't. They never
didn't say anything because they know they were caught.
They never give a reply.
I thought that was bullshit. I thought the head turning was a CGI thing that somebody put in there. Because they can't they can turn their head inside the helmet, but the helmet stays still. Michael, you had your head in that helmet for the third phase of Moon video.
Sure did. It swam right around inside that space.
Right. And Ollie, you were carrying my head around on the last time.
Yes, I did.
And I was only able to turn my head, but not the whole suit.
No, that was me turning your head with my hand.
I know.
That. You didn't have a neck.
Right.
People in the chat that didn't watch that or see that thumbnail be like, "Oh, what are they talking about?"
But it is weird that that suit did the head turned and it shouldn't have. So was that our future brothers or? I don't know, man. This whole thing is just whack. We don't know anything. You and I, we know nothing.
I think there's a lot of people that will attack a channel for saying the slightest thing against whatever they witnessed back when they was youngsters watching it on television. The old timers.
Yeah, like older than me.
I understand it. I completely understand. I have to speak very calmly with my dad and say, Dad, what if there is something a little bit fishy going on up there, pardon the pun? I keep saying to him, says, Dad, I believe we went to the moon, but I honestly believe that certain things NASA are covering up and they're not showing us the real, they're not showing us what's really going on or what's really up there, and whether it's because of the aliens, I don't know. I'll leave that on the table. But when it going back to what we were saying about, do you think we'll go back? We will go back. We will go and land on Mars in your lifetime, Rich.
No. I've only got 20 years left.
And that's probably because you've got no trust in the company that's doing it.
No, because I don't think we're gonna make it. And Michael, it's true. I'll be 73.
I know
I'll be dead already 5 years.
You have your thoughts about when your last day is. I know.
Yeah.
Is it just before you're 69?
Yeah. Like March 7th.
That's when you die. Okay.
Yeah, right before my birthday.
You know, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
We should do a live show for that day.
About who?
We need to do a live
that day.
Yeah, you know, like leading up to it, like a week before. Rich.
The death cast.
Yeah, rest in peace, Rich Giordano, before he's died. You know,
either that or I can retire on that. If I don't die, I'll definitely do it on my show.
Do YouTubers retire? Do they ever retire? They just die.
Who?
They die or get an STD and have to leave.
Who?
YouTubers.
Oh.
Well, it's still too new. YouTube's only been around.
A lot of
years.
YouTubers have died.
I know.
I think most of them commit suicide.
Yeah, I've heard.
Or get caught in inclement weather.
Like me.
Right.
Tornadoes and such.
Oh, by the way, I got to get giddy up in because I got to get my show ready.
Don't worry, we're going to go because Lee's internet's gone. He's tried to join through. He's tried to join. Still here. No, he's tried to join through his. He's still here. He's tried to join through his mobile phone, but he's only got 3G on his island.
Nah.
So.
Oh, jeez.
What a loser.
I don't know if you've ever tried to use 3G recently, but I can remember thinking it was the bee's knees at the time, and it's like dial-up. It's disgusting.
It is. Well, I was
really
forced to use it because my 5G wasn't working. Where I live, it's very secluded, and sometimes the signal goes out when it's storming, and I was on 3G, and it took forever for stuff to load up. You're right. How did we deal with that back then? I thought that was the bee's knees.
We didn't know any better.
Sorry, Al. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Look at
No.
how mad he is.
I'm not mad.
Wow, listen to you.
Is it in my voice?
Oh my God, dude, calm down.
Beard. It's in your beard.
It's in his beard. You've got an anger beard.
Do you know? I did find a hovercraft on Mars, though.
Say what?
I'll saved it for the end. There you go. Look at that beast.
Where?
It's in the distance. This was back in the day, boys. Look,
where?
It's there.
Where?
It's a zoomed-in shot of it.
He's looking on the left.
That's it on the left?
It's
looks
either
like it
that
has legs.
It could be a snail.
What that looks
a
like
Martian
what?
snail.
Oh, it does look. I see a seat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that
Pareidolia.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a crashed UFO. There you go.
What?
Back in the day. You see
yeah,
it?
look at that. That's
cool.
Mechanical.
Yeah. Found a tin of beans.
Oh, you did.
Somebody ate him. It looks like. Just left
No,
the tin.
it's a teapot. Yeah.
It's something.
And
it's a helmet.
it is a helmet. It looks like one of them tribal things.
It does.
And
oh my goodness gracious.
Now that looks like something that fell out of the sky that might have had, some connection to satellite or whatever, something
No,
mechanical.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Shut up.
You shut up.
You wouldn't know anything.
Takes one to know one.
What do you make? What do you
And I
make to
know
that
a
one,
lot.
boys? Before we go, look. Can you see what I see there? You see the.
Do I see? No.
You
Not
can't.
in this
so
one.
so on the left hand side, it's zoomed in. That's on the right hand side underneath my logo.
Got it.
That's the image. But can you see it's like he's.
I don't see it.
So the flat area, like a square. Look, imagine a book, and put a load of rubble on top of the book. Okay. You see the square. You see the squared off bits with the shadow underneath.
Yeah.
It really blends with shadow. The whatever texture is there.
I wish I'd have put some lines going through it because you
Yeah.
can. But that looks like some sort of It looks like a structure.
It doesn't.
I was mad at the time, though, boys.
I can tell.
But I'm madder now that you don't see what I see.
I see what you see, but I don't understand what you say you see because I don't see it.
Not pareidolia, Rich. That was booking. That was like that was a real.
Can you put your cursor
Martian.
on there so I can see what you're talking about?
I can't.
You don't have two monitors?
No.
No wonder why you're struggling.
Well, what the hell, alien addicts? Come on.
I do. One's an Apple Mac and one's a PC.
That's your problem.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. Just get a monitor for $100.
I could put this underneath it. Watch.
That's it. Yeah,
I'll
that'll
point
work.
it. Oh no, I can't. I can't.
You just need another monitor. They're $80, $90. Just
tell
so
you
you
what,
can
Rich.
have two screens, and it's so much easier.
But I don't have enough room on this table.
Get rid of the other one.
Get a new table.
Get a new table.
Oh my God! Do I have to
Expand.
show you everything?
It's genius. Get a new table. There we go. No,
Look
I
how
do
mad
think
he is.
I'm not mad at all, Rich.
Oh my God.
I'm furious. I'm absolutely.
Tyson Furious. Well, that's not nice at all. You shouldn't have to throw punches like that on air.
What show are you doing tonight, Rich?
Actually, I don't know. I was trying to prepare it while we were doing the show, and I have no idea what I'm doing. That's why I needed to get going.
But you're just going to wing it.
I'll let everybody know on Tuesday night I have Apollosteria joining me on Dark Hour Paranormal, and we're going to get into the esoterics, guys. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Excellent.
Wait, 5 days from now?
Yes. I still have to
Great.
put it up.
Because she was coming on my show Tuesday.
Oh, was she?
No.
Okay.
No.
You jerk.
You're a jerk.
Listen.
We should get her to join the boys.
Yeah, well, reach out to her, bro.
Yeah.
She's ready.
She's interested in that, and she's
doesn't
good
like
friends
me,
with.
so-
She's no, I'm not surprised.
I know, it's true.
It's because she knows that you have a crush on Linda.
I know. We talked
Linda's
about
a
that
fox,
in
you were
California.
serious.
Yeah, and Linda Moulton Howdy Doody still has her real hair, which is a turn on for me.
We spoke about it, Rich. We spoke about it.
I got quiet.
Oh my God.
So, Michael, you're interviewing Paula on Tuesday, and Rich, you're doing a show tonight.
What am I doing?
I don't know. What are you doing?
I don't know. Let's talk about it. What can I do? You tell me. I want to know.
Oh my God.
Seriously. Come up with an... Michael, what can I do?
All right.
That's what I thought. See, it's not easy.
I think you should invite Osvaldo Franco on.
And I'm not inviting anybody on my show. Forget about it. I can't do that tonight.
Too short notice, anyway.
Yeah,
well,
if
maybe not,
if
but-
you got a guest, you don't have to do any work.
I know, but he's got to wash his face, and that takes 2 hours. So what are we doing? What am I doing tonight? You tell me.
Okay.
Seriously, I'm not even joking. Tell me.
So we're gonna spend. Oh, I've just got a super chat. You could just do that. It's just squeeze the chickens all through the show.
I do that anyway.
That's the backup plan. Yeah, that's plan B there.
Thank you, Gav T.
I squeeze the silent chicken.
What?
That's why they're ladies, right?
Rich, what about talking to your viewers about UFO sightings? There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's boring.
There's no sightings to talk about.
I don't. This is no
yeah.
disrespect to the viewers, but are you in the same boat as me, boys? That it kind of gets boring.
It gets repetitive.
I'm doing
but,
a show
I mean,
every single night, Michael. Yes, it's
yeah,
repetitive.
I wouldn't say it's boring. but
No,
it can
about
be
the UFO
repetitive.
sightings gets boring.
Yeah, I don't mean
Because
your
you
show,
like,
Rich.
You're like, oh, is it another one?
Another one
UFO
looks
sighting.
exactly like the last one we looked at, and I mean, there's only so much you can say unless you have a little more background on one of these sightings. It's hard to go in depth beyond what you see viscerally.
It is. Rich, why don't you do a show about the community. And when I say the community, the subscribers. You have a chat with them.
About what?
Let them just, you get the interesting comments up and asking questions about just go from there.
I don't want anybody coming on the show.
I'm not saying bring them on, just
Yeah.
react with the audience, because you're good at reacting with your audience.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Just nobody's going to come to that show with the title, Ask Me Anything.
Talk about time
Nobody.
travel. Talk about
Time
time
travel?
travel in depth. Bring up some of the stories wherein, I forget the guy's name. Let's see, what was it, back in the 60s or 70s? He claimed to travel and had played the stock market. You could really kind of play with time travel as a general topic.
The guy who built a time machine guy?
There's that. Then there's always, you could talk a little bit about John, what was it, Titor?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've actually had somebody tell me that they can confirm that this guy is alive. And actually,
He is.
What was it, Rich? I'm sure you're familiar with the story too. Somebody else had stolen his story at one point. I don't remember. But again, this guy
John
is
Titor?
apparently, I guess this guy is somebody who's out there. He lives in Florida, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, some thoughts there, man, just to revisit the whole idea of time travel.
And if all else fails, you just got to speak about Angeli.
I know. All else fails. Angelique, Jeremy Corbell, or Elizondo.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have something there, Rich.
What?
You put them all in the same room. You send them all to the same. Okay, yeah. What? Okay, if Angeli is really for real, and Lou's for real, for his credibility. Lou's mentioned Angeli, hasn't he?
No.
Briefly. I think he mentioned her once in an interview. Because somebody asked about it. He said, yeah, I know who that is. He didn't really say much. Take Lou to the cave.
Yeah. Oh.
There you go.
it.
Nipples on.
That's the show. Take Lou to the cave.
I like my idea better.
What's your idea?
Time travel. What?
I forgot.
Oh, good. Thanks. I'm glad that I could, contribute to whatever you had going on there. Just, throw it in the pool, let it sink to the bottom. That's fine. We'll move on. Thanks, Rich.
I can only remember the last thing that was said.
But she needs to take some high players to that cave.
So I should have it, Anjali, take Lou to the cave.
That would be pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie.
Take Rogan to the cave.
That too, actually.
Oh, that'd be wild.
No, I was talking about Terry Wogan, but he's dead.
Who's Terry Wogan?
Oh, he was a great interview guy. Welsh, British. You don't know who Terry Wogan is?
It sounds vaguely familiar, probably because of Rogan.
He interviewed David Icke. He was one of the first people to interview David Icke.
No kidding.
He made fun of him. And then the second show, he apologized to him. But no, yeah, she should take Joe Rogan and Lou to the cave. And Joe should interview Lou Elizondo in the cave. So I can finally get my prediction right.
But if I did a show like that, it's the same. It always comes back to the same stupid.
Yeah, but you just make it funny. You just make it funny. Rich, people don't watch our shows for the absolute knowledge. They watch it because they get a little bit of fun and they get a little bit of knowledge as well. They don't get any knowledge off me, but they do off the guests.
Polar Bear, is that better? Got one guy in the room without a hat? One guy in ufology without a hat?
I have hair.
He's got hair too? He's got some hair underneath that hat? We're looking good, man, right? A little style in here.
It's just
he said, what was his comment there? It kind of made me chuckle. He said, do you have to wear a baseball cap when you are a YouTube UFO dude? I got a kick out of it.
Do you know what
I
the
saw
reason?
that 2 hours ago. Somebody put that comment.
Do you know what the reason is?
Biters.
When you do your hair, when you style it, well, you don't need to dark hour because you've got it kind of down. But a baseball cap just keeps it. Because the headphones.
It helps with the headphones, yeah.
It really does help with it, and it stops that. You get like a, what is it? Boys? You get like like it hurts after a bit, but the hat really helps.
I've always
that's the truth.
Worn a hat, so this is my signature look. Everybody's copying me again.
Well, I don't have the sunglasses.
No, I'm getting them.
I stopped wearing them as soon as I started sleeping again. I only wore them because I had bags under my eyes.
Right,
I'm
boys.
very vain. I'm so vain.
Rich,
I'm so vain.
You need to come up with your show. I need to get to bed.
Yeah.
Dark Hour needs to
go edit my edit for Third Phase UFO report.
Yeah.
Third Phase UFO report.
I want to thank everybody.
But I'm putting a video up tonight.
No, it's not going up tonight, Rich. You know what I'm working on, bud.
Oh, that. Just say it. The USO thing. I already told everybody.
Oh, okay, cool. Then we're good. That's what I'm working on.
All 40 of us know.
the USO thing.
Yeah, I put together a very large presentation on USOs with Preston Dennett, Rich, and Third Phase of Moon. All of them submitted fantastic video and comments. Very high production quality here. So I'm putting that together as a pretty heavy report because everybody was just really on key. And I mean, Preston Dennett gave me 20 minutes of answers to the 5 or 6 questions that I asked him. So you can imagine how much is there to go through and present, dude. It's going to be really, really awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Is that going on Third Phase UFO report? Is that going Dark Hour?
No, it'll be Third Phase UFO report.
Right.
Yep. It's a big collaboration. Awesome. It's cool, man. Can't wait to do the next one.
Rich is still thinking about what to do that show.
Well, I'm reading that Greer is having this thing in Tucson, and I believe it's $3,500 each. If you want to participate, please sign up below. Tuition for new participants is $3,500. Yeah, and places for previous attendees are limited. Tuition for previous attendees is $1,700. It's in some place in Tucson. He's renting out a house to do a CE5 thing, I believe. This is unbelievable. That's a lot of freaking money.
Sure is, man.
You're expected to sleep from 2 a.m. to 10 and then meditate and practice remote viewing until lunch. I won't read the rest because we got to go, but I'll be talking about that.
Hey, there we go.
There you go. The audience delivers, as always.
Stephen Greed. Stephen Greed.
But you like him. There's nothing. I like Augustus Gloop, and he's greedy.
I don't like this part of Greed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like this. $1,700? $35 if you want to be... $3,500. Dude, that's rent for one night. Or 1 day. 1 month.
Insane.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's a mortgage payment. All right, I got to get going.
No
Good
worries,
to see
boys.
me.
Well, I love you all, and good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. I'm Alien Addict, DarkHour Paranormal, GUFON Radio, and we did have Lee in the corner, but his internet failed. But they're all in the description. Go check them out, people. Good night, God bless.
Cheers.
Mind the bugs don't bite. Bye-bye.
Giddy up.